nominating three, and if I get a seconder, I'll talk to it.
Seconder?
I'll second.
Right, councillor Hayden?
Okay, yes, as everyone may not or may be aware, in February 2024, the BSCA put in for their village fund allocation for a sheltered park setting at Black Springs. At the current time, the master plan was in operation, so there was the seat shelter wasn't purchased at the time. Pricing was much cheaper than currently, but I do believe with all the work that the BSCA do to assist with council, as in trying to get grant funding for blinds, helping with lights in the hall, helping with contributing to a multitude of different repairs in the kitchen, in the acoustics, in everything else. I just want to omit the $309 extra. It's only a small amount of money, and I'm hoping that council can see that as being a little bit of a gift, because it's taken this long to get the seat setting. But I mean, with what council and hall committee and everything get from benefit of working in with BSCA is a lot more benefit. So can we just kind of scrap that 309? Maybe council could take that on the chin and have it as a what is it? 10% Flamen?
Variation.
No, not a variation. No, not a variation.
Contingency.
No, not a GST component.
We don't pay GST.
No, council
Right.
doesn't pay GST, but the BSCA would have to pay GST. So if council did the procurement and getting this, then it makes a GST component through BSCA. So anyway, I just want to put it that the providing the $309 extra by council copped that one. We should have probably been a little bit on the ball and done it last year, but it's happening later.
Councillor Leveris?
And they'll do
Not
it.
bad.
Right. Discussion on this matter?
Mr Mayor, we get blowouts in budgets everywhere. We haven't got the final one on the O'Connell amenities yet.
No.
We get the blowout from the bores provided. I think it was 83,000 at the time at Black Springs and O'Connell. We get them all the time. We have to wear them. Or do you want me to identify a fund it comes from?
Seems gun.
It's going from Parks and Gardens.
Yep.
Any further discussion? All right, I put the alternate motion, it will be, alternate motion 1 and 2. All in favour? Councillor Tucker and Trembath against. Thank you. All right, I'll now call a break for councils. We've been going for just over 3 hours. If you could be back here, please. Well, we've got 5 minutes. Councillor McCarthy, thank you.
Just a question. The general manager, the Oberon Sports Complex Workshop, when's the next one due? Do you have any dates for that?
So given the amount of time council have spent with us working through this program, we tried to look, I'm looking to do it next week sometime.
Oh,
So I'll call the committee to have that.
yeah,
I want to put the working party or the new working party, there's new members of it. So I'd like to take them to the facility to see how it's progressing and what's happened in that space, and then come back and talk about the things that we need to deal with as part of that.
Yeah.
And then for a report back to April. The other thing is that council needs to undertake some assessment in terms of management. And I want to have a conversation with the working party about their thoughts and wants, so we can have a bit of a discussion about what that should look like, and bring a report back to April.
okay. Just one other point. Number 5, you've got the regional net zero meeting in Orange.
Why don't you tell us about that?
So it's 13th February 2025, yeah.
So as part of the responsibilities under all things that are state and federal, the net zero component that sits with the requirements of companies and councils heading towards 2050. The JO have put together what they call a JONSA, which is a Joint Organisation Net Zero Committee, and get together and look at options and what different councils are doing and where we can help each other in that space. I sit as the general manager who's been elected to help with that committee, so that's why I attend that. All right, that's it.
Who's seconding that?
Me.
Councillor McCarthy, thanks.
Yeah, good report. Page 61. Black Springs and O'Connell water filling stations, ongoing maintenance upgrade. It's not upgrade. Are they working? And did the man that was over there, the filling point yesterday that I spoke to, did he have success down at O'Connell and Black Springs?
I'm happy to defer to the technical service director in that. They were just public exhibitions and documents we put in the paper. But my understanding is as we indicated, they've been investigated. Our guys have been out there, and I think that they're all operable. Is that the case?
So the chair, the O'Connor one now is, I believe the pump was turned off for some reason. That might false the irrigation and the water station. The Black Springs ones required a further hookup to the solar panel
Do we have a time frame for that?
as soon as possible.
And maybe someone could just advise people what's happening with the cards, because there are the old cards still outstanding with people deposit on, and maybe that's.
So the chair would like to get them operational first and then the price of that. My understanding also is that we can still use the cards. So they can be run by a credit card, but it can still use the card. So we've recently activated one of those for our use. Test it if we need to test it. So that's my understanding, but happy to provide an update when once we know the update.
Sorry, Councillor McCarthy, I interrupted you.
My understanding is down at O'Connell that the pump constantly goes out and overload, and there stops the what's the name, water point from operation. So I think we need to look into that. And that was when we use it for irrigation, let alone the filtering. So
And I think Councillor Tremor may have raised that before. Did you raise that before?
I think that was a little while ago that was happening, and the tech director addressed it, and I just saw the sprinklers one just the other day. I have presumed that some of it is some of the work that's being done there, that from time to time they may need to be turning the water on and off. So but the sprinklers are definitely working, so the water's on.
So, yeah, okay. So if I can just make it, obviously, as Councillor O'Connor we discussed the other day, with the current climatic conditions, it's likely that there may be some users of these facilities. So we need to be in a position that they can be used, whether it's for fire or whether it's for stock and domestic water. So I think you probably need some urgency in ensuring they're up and running, and then advising people how they run them, i.e. you can use a credit card, using it when that, so maybe if we can send a circular on that.
Yes, one of those things that council needs to be aware of to start with also is that if they're both running an irrigation system and it's a water supply or an assisted water supply, what is the benefits to which one overrides the other? So council down the track may need to make a decision if it goes dry, whether they turn the sprinklers off and just keep it for that domestic supply, or it's not domestic, so the stock and domestic supply. But that's a conversation.
As GM, I attended the site with the director, and we were assured by one of our staff members that they both operate together, the irrigation and the dump point or fill point's got enough capacity to do it.
Yep.
But I was also told that there's a constant thing that the pump spikes and sends it out in overload. So,
Who indicated that to you?
the same chap that give us the tour.
Oh, okay.
But, anyway, we need to either get like
Yeah.
a soft start or something on there and, get it operational, because there was an elderly couple over here at the fill point yesterday, and they come from Beaconsfield Road over in, O'Connell, and they've had to come all the way up. And it'd be handy for them to fill down there.
So if we can somehow, and I don't mind raising it, Bill Voice, but I think on our council webpage and Facebook page, we'll go it all up and running. It should
Yep.
notify people what the procedure is. There is. Thank you, councillor Hayden.
And what's the hold up with Black Springs one? What's the hold up with Black Springs one?
Solar panel, I thought the director said there was a problem with the solar panel, is that correct?
It just requires a hookup.
Hook up, yeah.
Okay, I just wondering why we're using the solar panel out there when the mains power's there. Anyway,
That's how I was designed. I wasn't part of that, but anyway. I think there's a backup on that.
Councillor Hayden.
Yes, thank you for that, and thank you, councillor McCarthy, for mentioning the pump, ball pump things, fill stations. I mentioned about the solar panel, last year, that the solar panel at Black Springs was not hooked up. I'd mentioned it several times, and I was guaranteed that it was going to be done within that time frame that I'd mentioned, and it's still not done. And that means Black Springs has gone the whole summer in case of any emergency without access to any water. But regardless of that, I hope it just gets done as soon as possible. Now, I've got a couple of questions in the general manager's report. So thank you for your report. In here on page 212 of 349, I note that council availed itself of a climate change risk assessment BFI. I'm wondering, did that incorporate flood and drought mitigation in that discussion or in that report?
Yeah, so it was
Assessment.
absolutely about that disaster resilience,
Yeah.
disaster readiness. One of the problems I had with it is that it didn't mention snow.
Right.
So I'm going back with the through the JA now and say, look, we're not all in the same
Being in
box.
that area. Yeah.
We need to include snow in that space.
Okay, now I notice here there's a point in the oversight and management of the open sports complex. I won't go into what I've asked you in an email, but what would be the time frame for you to answer regarding the email I sent out?
As you're very much aware, councillor, I work under a probity plan in that regard, and there'll be some things that I won't be responding to.
So can you
but
mention
I will do
anything in that to me privately, please? Thank you. Also, on the following page 213, you state here several public liability claims were managed, including footpath claim, a tyre claim and a fallen tree. And I'm just wondering what the outcomes of these were. Were they under our insurance? Did we actually reimburse for any damages, etc.?
No, all claims were denied.
Okay. Yeah. So why are always our claims denied when they go through our insurer? Because we do have a reasonable duty of care when it comes to some of the issues that arise.
They get assessed and adequate assessment is undertaken, but in those instances, they were denied.
Okay, thank you. Now, I know you've listed here the insurance claim for stolen solar batteries has been processed. Is there a time frame until replacement and the security is going to be undertaken out at the Reef Amenities block? And will we see that block operating before the next season? Sorry?
ASAP.
Right. Is there a time frame around the ASAP?
ASAP. I'm not dealing with it, but I've made it clear that
Yeah.
we have the appropriate provisions in place to have it rectified.
Okay.
There is a currently we're looking at the options of moving some of the infrastructure to be more open to the public. And that'll come with a cost, but it'll be dealt with appropriately as soon.
Okay, and on that
It's
same
not-
page, I noticed the WTP water treatment plant undertaking the cleaning. What was the rough estimated cost for that cleaning?
Habitate on those.
Yeah. Thank you. Just down on to the following page under recruitment. So all of our positions now seem to be filled, are they? Or is there still interviews to be conducted? I noticed that the other week we had administration customer service trainee ad out there. Was that because one of our trainees left, or did we have to get another trainee, or was that the same position?
No. So there's a number of trainees. Council endorsed the project around having a grow our own provisions in that trainee space.
Mm-hmm,
We currently have one in that space.
mm-hmm,
Council will also be aware that as part of the growing the apprentices and skill program in the regions, we were lucky enough to have two positions in that space that we could use as a leverage. So someone else will pay for us to onboard those,
okay,
and that was part of that. We definitely aren't at full capacity.
okay,
We still have a number of contractors in that space, certainly in the tech services space.
yeah,
And we're looking, as I said, the project manager, the last count, we had 62 applications, so
62.
62.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, let's go.
So
with that.
shortlisting is being undertaken at the
We will
moment.
go through the shortlisting.
And are there any current positions advertised on our website at the moment?
Not only the project manager.
Okay,
We are in the process of finalising recruitment in the administration space, in the works operations space,
mhm,
and we'll progress down that path as soon as we practically can.
okay. And just in 0.5 under community activity, regional issues and other meetings, just in your meeting space there on page 215, 349, just under the 18th February where it says Arts of West, I think there's a bit of a typo and it might need to be called Arts Out West presentation. And
I met with the Arts of West
Arts of
Council.
West,
Yeah,
Arts of.
they're a little organisation, subsidiary of Arts Out West.
Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting. What was that in relation to?
Fortunately, it was exactly the same as Arts Out West options.
Okay.
Thank you, councillor.
Well, thank you.
It's a typo.
Thank you for confusing me. I read everything and I'm really grateful that you filled me in there. 24th of February is PCG, right? Or should that be PWG?
That's a PCG. The
The
PCG is the project control group.
Control group, right,
I
okay.
meet with them quite regularly, given our probity requirements under the deed.
That's all right. Thank you. I don't think I've got anything else now.
Any other matters? Who was the second one? That was, that was no cop. Yeah, sorry. Just if I could, you'll advise us later on this, as Councillor Hayden has said, on the relocation of the equipment at the reef facilities, what's happening there. I thought the relocation meant we were putting the equipment in a different place so it was more secure
Yeah,
and not likely to be vandalised. But I obviously misread that.
less likely to be
Less likely.
vandalised. It's supposed to be in a more, rather than tucked behind, where we'd like to have them tucked behind so no one can find them. So that didn't work, so we're trying to bring them out. We're also looking at our options around like passive and active control mechanisms. I've been talking to Councillor McCarthy about the potential for management on the site that comes with its issues, but certainly none that we can't overcome. But even portable solar lights with the cameras attached to them, like whether we look at the purchase of that and whether that's something that council would be amenable to, it's definitely a conversation we need to have at some point. It's definitely, like, primitive campgrounds always come with this issue because you don't control them and you don't have any there for free. So that doesn't mean that the things you supply should be vandalised or taken, but that's the nature of what happened here.
Could I just add a comment to that? Is out at Barriga, they have the light that comes on and it's got the camera. They had an assault out there and they had 4 police there and none of them knew you can download the thing.
That's right.
And it's,
Well,
That's good.
and we have talked, Councillor McCarthy, and you'll recall we've talked with the Director of Community Corporate Services about when we introduce CCTV, getting some synergies so that whatever we introduce in town, yes, they'll have to be differently operated, but at least we've got synergies to know how to operate any remote systems as well. So that's one of the things I know he's looking at, so that we don't have orphan systems that no one knows how to operate. If I can put it that way. Quick one to you, and you've already raised it. I'm just wondering, the management of our sports complex, really, if we're expecting to complete it in
In the future,
May, June, July, let's say this year, I'm wondering whether we should be delegating to our committee in a fairly short time to come back with us with recommendations, and that may involve giving the options and then for them to come back again to have a decision before we get the April meeting. I'm wondering if you need 2 meetings before April, because I think we need to move this thing along. That's up to you and the committee.
Currently, the working party has no delegation,
Right.
and I don't, but that simply means that the working party has a meeting similar to the STP working
Exactly.
party. We look at those options, we come back with recommendations to the whole of council and we deal with it.
I'm not suggesting that we delegate the function of making the final decision. What I'm suggesting is that maybe the working party can synthesise the options, and they may need to look at what options they have, then to synthesise that down. So when you come back to council, we're in a better position to make a quick decision. I'll leave it to you and the committee, but you know what I'm talking about, because I know what we need, we need to move.
I know exactly what you're talking about, Mr. Mayor, but I'd certainly like to run it past the committee.
Yes, okay. Right, nothing further. I put the motion, the report item 14.1 is received as information. All in favour? Carried unanimously. Go to 14.2, monthly activity report, planning and development, February 2025. The recommendation is that report item 14.2 is received as information. Councillor Hayden, seconder, please. Councillor Connor, thank you. Councillor Hayden.
Yes, thank you very much to the team and Damien for providing this report. I note the applications, the DA applications remain high. It's been a good year this year by the looks, with a lot of stuff, a lot of work to be had with the CLUS. I note that 34 Glendware Avenue, that council plumbers have been engaged to undertake those work. So that's still on time frame through the mayor to the planning director for late March, early April. Page 216 of 349, 34 Glendware Avenue.
Through the chair, that's correct, yeah.
Sorry. Now, I was also going to ask when the DA tracker might be, how's that progressing from my last inquiries?
Through the chair, our IT coordinator provided a response to us both that he was in discussions with Freddie Tech.
Yeah.
I've not got a reply back on that yet from his catch up, so I'll take that on notice and
Yeah.
provide a response to you.
Okay, that'd be great, thank you. I noticed that the gym and pool have been going quite well. And I note there it says a management system. Did we have to go into another new management system for that at some stage?
When we, through the chair, when we took over the tour from
Yeah.
Hawaii, we took over their system, and then
Yeah.
since that time it has been upgraded to a similar system. It's now called Explorer, and it was Links, so it's a
A
similar
bit
type of
different,
system, but
yeah.
that's just training staff up in the new system.
Yeah, okay, good. Now, I did have a question for the dogs and cats. So do we currently have 8 dogs in the pound? On page 222 of 340.
Through the chair, if you look at the green colour,
Yeah.
that is the number, so it'd be
So does the
2,
green
4,
colour
5.
include the red colour or just the green colour?
just the green colour. the red colour of the cats.
You know how I had issues with that last year.
Through the chair, I'll have that clarified, so it's only
Yeah.
the green, no, that would be
So the
two,
green
two,
is
4, 5.
2, 4, 5. Okay, would there be an easier way to graph that so it was not so bad for me to understand?
Next to each other.
Yeah, next to each other maybe, just a little bit of a change. Sorry, and then I won't be confused, because sometimes we end up with, as you know, 2.5 cats and stuff, and that's really hard. for
Through
me
the
to
chair,
deal
you
with.
possibly have to separate the cats and the dogs into
Yeah,
separate,
just a little different column.
columns.
Yeah, so colour coordinated, coloured. And I was also wondering, because we get we've got our animal control officer. I've noted we don't have many reports on the straying stock situation. Is that normal not to have that? Because I know we did used to sometimes. Is it there?
Through the chair, down on the bottom of that page, we've got complaints that include animal control and livestock, so
Yeah, 35.
the number of those that probably
Yeah.
goes out, they're not all other complaints.
Yeah, I just wondered if there was something that could be broadened, because I do know that the Australian stock's still been pretty bad, and the sheep that get out in Mozart's still getting out in Mozart, and the cattle in O'Connell and mutton balls are still getting out, and they're the same ones doing the same stuff. So I don't know, I'd just like to see a little bit broader report into that, but I know that your time's precious. That's okay. Thank you. Nothing further.
Councillor Connor.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Through you, just a quick question to the Director of Planning and Development. With regard to the avenue of trees at Cromwell, that regarding the heritage listing, is it?
Through the chair, that's correct.
Thank you.
Right, any further comments? Not, I put the recommendation that report item 14.2 is received and information. All in favour? Carried unanimously. 14.3. Monthly activity report, technical services, February 2025. The recommendation is the report 14.3 is received as information. Move it, please. Councillor Hayden, seconder, please. Kathy, thank you. Councillor Hayden.
Yeah, I'd like to thank the Technical Services Director for the report. I just have, and I know this is going to sound very strange, and the Technical Services Director may not be able to answer it, but I'm hoping that the General Manager can answer this. The point 1, roads, regional and local. Now that our Losemount Road, which was part of the Tablelands Way project, which was the funding for 3 councils, Lithgow, Oberon and Upper Lachlan. So we were all part of that 3-way grant. As I'm reading this, it states in here that work will now begin transferring the remaining amount of grant funding over to Upper Lachlan. In saying that, has our delay doing that section of Losemount Road caused a delay in them starting their project with having the grants funded transferred?
Through the chair, absolutely not.
No.
The reason why we're looking to remove the funding is because currently we are the lead agency in how we deliver on that. Lithgow's done theirs, we've done ours, and we're now still doing administration work for Upper Lachlan. So we're looking to move that over to Upper Lachlan so they can.
So it hasn't delayed the work
Absolutely
program for that, okay.
They haven't.
No, I know they haven't started, so that was one of my questions.
Yeah.
But I also note in that, as part of that funding, was line marking part of the grant? Like line marking would have been included into creating those roads and making those roads. Lithgow still haven't done that, or even filled the potholes in from,
Right,
That
well,
thing.
that's a matter we can't
So, yeah.
control.
no, it was just,
Lithgow's.
I'd expect that the expectations would have been the same as how we carried ours out.
No, through the chair, that is
So
very
not gonna
clear that the works carried out on the 2 areas in question are miles ago.
Like chalk and cheese.
Yeah, that's all right, but yeah. I'm breaking the chair, sorry. I'm doing the council with the kids. So anyway, Abercrombie Road off Shooters Hill, I'm glad to see that that work's being done now, because that was the section that many of us thought should have been done prior to the Black Springs intersection 1 on Abercrombie. So I'm glad that that's being done. And there was one thing that I wanted to ask. I note that I have harped on about this over the last couple of years, and our technical services director may not be fully aware of this issue, but when we had the stockpile down on Snake Valley Road, it's all been cleared away now. So Snake Valley Road intersection is back to how it was. So we've put that one back. When are we going to complete the Carlwood Lowesmount intersection on the left-hand side, which the dirt is halfway up the trees? When are we going to remediate that and move all of that stockpiled dirt and put it in another program or use it as fill for the tips? Because that is still there. It is causing the issues. That's why the stop signs are there now. When you come up from Carlwood and you look to the right, there isn't a good clear view, because that area that was a flat parking area has been built up with the stockpile that is halfway up the trees. It's also encroached on one of the property's gateways, so they're having trouble getting into a gateway.
All right.
So I have brought it up for the last 2 years, and I'm really hoping that with further roadworks, we can somehow utilise that gravel and get rid of it.
All right, and I'm not sure the technical services director knows about it, but I know she's noted it down. You want to reply now or come back to it?
Oh, she can come back to me
Come
at
back
some
to
other
council.
stage. That's,
It may very well be that it's a stockpile for use in that area. I do not.
yeah, it hasn't been.
I know it's been there for a while. I know the file you mean, but, technical services director advises it may be a long-term stockpile for use in the vicinity, so we don't.
My last question on this report, I might have. No, I've got a comment and a question. So my question is around, our Traffic New South Wales, Transport New South Wales roadworks that we do, our contract work. I understand that we need these. Is it going to hamper our workforce in doing some of the local roads? Are we going to have enough workforce to do both?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, and my comment is, I just found it extremely interesting that through one of our hotter years that we've had since August, our water use has been lower.
Interesting phenomenon.
Thank
All right,
you.
councillor McCarthy, yes, thank you.
Great job being completed on the end of Lowesmount Road near the football net. Only thing concerns me is the B doubles and that are laying over the edge of the seal. I think we've got to do something, come back and have some way that we don't allow them to go over the edge. And not even park there. I think the board needs some management plan that once they're in town, they've got to get onto his side, but I don't want to lose what we've fought that long for. And the other one is, I noticed on the director's report, they've done some work on the back of Morwood's car park. Out there in the car park where you walk from the lane into the car park, you've got a hedge. That hedge is just at the wrong height for kids. I think it needs taken down to about 15 inches and start again. The foliage at the moment is bloody terrible, so it's not going to hurt anything. But anyway, it's only a suggestion. Thank you.
Maybe not the time to cut it either. It might be windy off the stroke.
Well, the way the trees are looking at the moment, I think the bloke got to them out the front. But I think the chainsaw now would be beneficial.
Thank you. Anyone else discussions on this? No?
There's a comment.
If not, I'll put the motion that report 14.3 has received information. All in favour? Thank you. Carried unanimously. 14.4 monthly activity report corporate service. Recommendations report item 14.4 is received as information. Move it, please. Councillor Hayden, seconder, please.
Don't all stick your hands up at once, eh?
Councillor Tucker, thank you. Councillor Hayden.
Yeah, I'm happy to move that. Just like to thank the corporate services team for testing staff and councillors in their little cyber episode. Had me doing a lot of mind thinking and a lot of different little thoughts that crossed my mind, and it was quite interesting. Thank you. Not. Yeah, that's about it. All the events have been absolutely brilliant. Now, one thing, this cyber awareness workshop, Seniors Festival held in June, Black Springs on the 4th. And my apologies to Councillor McKibben if he was going to ask the same thing. But will any of this be going out to Burriga at all for some of the residents out there?
Through the chair, at this point, we didn't have a plan to take to Borrega, but those dates are, they're TBC at the moment with
Yeah.
NBN, but we had selected Black Springs with the hope that we could get the Borrega community to attend there, just because of the hall and the facilities will require to run those events. That was the intention, to at least have it in Black Springs so they can attend.
Well, I'll await the comms and send them out to the Burriga community, and hopefully they'll take up the offer to come and see. Now, one thing I did want to, sorry, and I won't take up too much time on it because I'm going to send an email to you, Matt, in relation to this. There's been quite a few of us, as you know, in our little fisho circle that have been discussing the red fin roundup. And I note the comments in here about requests being sent to several large camping and fishing companies for sponsorship and stuff. There's quite a few within the fishing circle and quite a few with Burriga Fishing Club and so on. And they're all wanting to do some uptake in our redfin roundup. So we've got a gentleman that can do some fishing, showing people how to select species with particular lures, so a little bit of a display. Another that can do fishing from kayaks, how that can operate. The Burriga Fishing Club, happy to help doing fish measure. I note that the girls from the Vic aren't real keen on doing that, but previously from the fishing shed, he found it struggling as well, and he'd be happy to still go in and do the sponsorship as long as there's someone to help with the fish measuring and things like that. So the Burriga Fishing Club are thinking that this is part of an opportunity where they can actually come and help do this as well as part of some involvement. And I've got to talk to one other chap that some people have suggested about doing a fly fishing demonstration.
Okay, so maybe you can put that all in.
I'm going to put it in an email format, but I was just having a look at what's there and just hopefully we can grow from there and just to have that planned out so there's less stress there.
Thank you.
Right, second, Councillor McCarthy.
No,
Hey, sorry, Tucker. Yeah,
but nothing to add, Mr. Minister.
thank you. Any further discussion? Not, I put the motion as per the recommendation. Report of item 14.4 is received information. All in favour? Thank you. We go to 14.5 investments, February 2025. Recommendation for report item 14.5 is received as information. Move it, please. Councillor O'Connor. Councillor Cry, was that your wave of your hand?
Yeah.
Not Councillor Everest, thank you. Councillor O'Connor.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. No, it looks a good report. I mean, I note the obvious there about declining interest rates and therefore interest received, which doesn't help our position in terms of going forward. But no further comment. Thank you.
Might help a few of our constituents in paying the rate.
That's right.
Great.
Yeah, I concur.
Just through the chair, just a little bit of a admin.
Yes,
There's a cut off at the bottom of
that's right.
of the item, which is always very interesting for council. And currently there's 85,000 worth of unrestricted funds that we have available to us. So
How much?
585.
we've got there. So
Yeah, that should be below the 24,000.
Through the chair, normally that would be, as it sits, if we do break up external restricted and internal restricted, and for some reason that's fallen off, but there's 585 unrestricted cash as well at that time of writing that report.
All right. Any further discussion on this matter? I put the motion as per the recommendation. All in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Go to 14.6, grants update, February 2025. Recommendation is report item 14.6 is received information. Move. Councillor Hayden, seconder, please. Councillor Tucker, thank you. Yes.
Yes, I'm happy to move that. I'm just wondering through the mayor to the corporate services director, has there been any current updates other than what's in the paper? Any of the grants? Nothing.
Through the chair, I don't believe there's anything that I haven't putting this report that's come in the last week or so.
Okay. I note that we've got the November to March Oberon local government area active transport, so they're a bit late, or that, till the end of March, haven't they, to notify that?
That's
We
correct, yeah.
wouldn't get notification until April, would we? And it's very good to see that the Oberon Youth Career Fair application was successful, so I'll be looking forward to seeing what comes out of that.
Yeah,
What events?
through the chair, that event, it's shaping up really well. We've got a lot of, participation from industry and things coming to engage with the youth. So, much more to come on that shortly.
Thank you, nothing further.
Second to Councillor Tucker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just two questions, if I may. Page 87 of the printed version, just over halfway down. So we were unsuccessful in our application for $29,000 odd to upgrade the Dudley Street precinct. And that follows a previous application where we applied for the full amount and were unsuccessful in that as well. So does that mean we will now, it's probably for the technical services director also, will we now be proceeding with that construction, given that we've still got enough money to do the whole project in our legacy TI fund?
I can tell you, yes.
I guess from a grant perspective, we've obviously exhausted both of those. It's seemingly that we will need to fund that. So we intend to proceed with that avenue and schedule that into the next available works window to get that done.
Well, not possible to say at the moment when that might be able to happen. That's more for the technical service director for the scheduling, really.
Since the
legacy TI project.
project nominated through the DI legacy. And
The Dudley intersection upgrade.
Considering the funding is unsuccessful,
But we've got funding. We were hanging on to our funding in the legacy TI in the hope that we would get this funding.
This one here, 13 funds.
my understanding from they weren't happy with the design, but I have to look back into that.
Yeah,
They were
we
concerned with the arrangement of the design.
yeah, we completed the design for you.
Transport wasn't happy with it. That was my understanding.
My other question is about the sewage treatment plant upgrade, unsuccessful. So we're back to where we were of some extremely difficult decisions to be made. So we're going to schedule a working party meeting reasonably soon.
We are. The general manager, you probably heard before, I think Councillor Hayden raised it under the mayoral minute. General manager, I'm meeting with the minister, Rose Jackson, and Stephen Lawrence, I think, isn't it? Yep. On the 26th. Yep. So we want to find out the status of our current grants that we have. If there's a cut-off date, so we want to ensure we keep that ability to use that money. And we want to pry further as to what can the government do to assist us on that. At the citizenship ceremony earlier this week, I think Councillor O'Connell was there as well. I raised the issue with the member Andrew G and said, look, we're desperate for an extra 12 million at the sewage treatment plant. He said, he was a bit surprised. I said, we still haven't got it. We need to complete it. It's the most crucial project in Oberon. He got the message very strongly.
But so you have that meeting first and then we'll have a.
Yeah, and we're also, because we're in a federal election mode, we're also pushing the federal member. And I would suggest that we push all potential candidates on the SDP at whatever opportunities we have. That's all of us council. We have to do that. So comes to four, you say STP. Again, I said something tonight or earlier today to the wind farm people, as you know, but it is crucial for us.
Yes, I certainly know that.
So we're making it.
Yeah, where are we going to go from there?
Exactly.
So just to add a little bit to that is that we were unsuccessful, but
We don't know why.
well, I don't think we'll ever find out, but what we have asked is, has been very clear because we put it in the report about where other people have got these type of things. And when we see that $45 million has been provided to a council to create 40 allotments, I don't know what the BCR is in that regard to make the allotments value added $1 million before you even do anything with them. So we've certainly asked that question. Like this is a federal release. So we've asked the question on the back of, well, we know what our BCR is like. What is it when you're given 45 million for 40 lots?
I think that maybe we should, actually send a letter to the federal member and ask him on the basis of these grants, could he ascertain from the government why this project in his electorate was unsuccessful?
Watch this space, Mr. Mayor. We're just about to send them.
Because. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I'm
That's
happy
all
to
my
sign that letter. All right. Any further, sorry, is that you, councillor Taggart?
Yes, I think
Oh, sorry. Any further discussion? If not, I put the recommendation as the motion. All in favour? Thanks. 14.7 is the status update March 2025. The recommendations of report 14.7 is received with information. Councillor Hayden, seconder, please. Councillor McCarthy, thank you. Councillor Hayden.
Yeah, only a brief question. I've gone through the status report. Forgive me if I've missed it, but, what?
You probably haven't.
No, I probably haven't. You don't know what I'm gonna ask. Yes, you do. The weed motion that I moved a while back regarding the recreation ground and the cleaning up of the weeds and that out at it's just not in the status report any longer. And I do understand some spraying's been done, but fixing those weeds, it's still ongoing. You can't just spray and leave it there. So I'm just wondering if that's going to be re-added to the status report.
Yeah, so in regards to that, there was two, like council resolved to go and do that function in its own right.
Yeah, but it hasn't been done.
The first spray has, and then they had to leave it and then come back and do another one, was my understanding. So it's that second one that we're waiting on at this point.
But wouldn't you think that whole weed matter is ongoing in the status report? So that we can keep an update as to what time frame and what's being done, because not only did the weeds have to be sprayed, they had to be removed as well.
I thought it was subject to a grant application.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
So
but
it's done that first
that-
bit.
But wouldn't you keep that in there so that you can list down what it's up to and what grant might be applied for, so we don't lose it along the way, is what I'm meaning.
Yeah, I'm just,
Does that make sense?
yeah, I'm just looking, I thought that's just indicated that it was still in there. I thought it was something.
I looked through it twice and I couldn't find
Yeah, that's
anything.
fine. That's the status of it. If it is in there, we'll update. If it's not, we'll bring it back.
It's definitely in the grants report.
Yeah.
It's in the grants report, but it's just not in our status report. Sorry, thank
So
you.
that can be changed.
That's it.
All right, councillor McCarthy. You second. You didn't second.
Yeah, he said he didn't have
I said
anything
I'm
to
wrong.
say.
Oh, you're right, okay. All right, anything else? If not, I put the recommendation. All in favour? Thank you. Carried unanimously. 14.8, questions taken on notice at the previous meeting. Recommendation is board item 14.8 is received information and the response is noted. Move it please, councillor Hayden, second. Councillor McCarthy, councillor Hayden.
Yes, I'm happy to move that. I know, was there any other questions on that item? Or they might have been statements, I think.
So through the chair, there was a lot of statements
Yeah.
as we sometimes
Yeah.
get. And what we put in the report is that there was also a number of people that asked questions about applications that were either dealt with on the night or were committed to be
Yeah.
part of the report that you dealt with tonight.
So, thank you.
Yeah, councillor McCarthy.
Yeah, just point two on that page, there's no fire trail up there at the reserve like Michael the Taris asked about. There's no registered fire trail, so the rural fire service can't help us.
Thank you. Any further?
That'll do.
All right, I'll put the recommendation, all in favour? Right, thank you unanimously. Waste update 14.9. Recommendations, the report item 14.9 is received as information. Move it, please. Councillor Hayden, Councillor O'Connor. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you to, our technical services director for this. Everyone knows that we're going to have, some huge changes in waste moving forward, and now, and over the next 5 years is going to be priority for this council. I just want to say thank you for the report. A lot of stuff's in there. There's nothing we've got to make decisions on, but it's very good. I'd like to see that we can get some remedies out at Black Springs and Burriga, and I'd like to see that we can get some remedies around recycling and get that enacted as soon as possible. Thank you.
Councillor O'Connor.
Thanks, Mr Mayor, through you. A couple of questions to the Director of Technical Services. Found it amazing that the mix is 3.5 to 1 commercial to residential. That's quite amazing. But does that also mean that once we get the Weybridge, we'll be able to weigh and charge that 3 point? So we'll have a funding source maybe, or to offset some of our costs?
Through the chair, that's the absolute reason, so we can get more details. That's as the technical service that indicated, it's about 65% of our waste collections.
And it is basically it's a look at what you think the volume is at the moment, as you're aware, so this will be much more precise.
A couple of questions leading on from that. So the 6 months window is an estimated timeframe for the work ahead of us?
Transition.
Month?
Yeah, we've both put a bit of a timeline in there to say that's where we're heading in that space.
That's good. And then just the point I sort of not quite clear on, once the rate goes in, when do we start charging? Where's
There's a transition. We have
How long's that?
Yeah.
So that will be up to council to determine what that transition is. We would absolutely look at options around that conversion from tonnage to, from volume to tonnage.
Yeah.
However, the Weybridge is something that we need, and it's been called out for by the EPA every time we talk to them. So it's something that we're keen to see transitioned. I mean, saying that, it's a conversation we're going to have at IPNR time when we renew the fees and charges and look at that sort of stuff.
I mean, to me, the waste facility, so when it'll just be fantastic, wouldn't we get a Weybridge?
It will. We've just got to make sure that we can put the volume through, because we've got one Weybridge. A lot have two, where they weight the tier weight one way and the EVM the other way. So we've got to be careful of that. That's been raised by Councillor McCarthy. You raised it, someone did. All right. Any further discussion on this matter? Councillor McCarthy.
So we've engaged a contractor to start the Weybridge development, haven't we?
Yes, mate.
Yes,
That's right. Just one question. Did we give him heights off the roadway to install the Weybridge? In other words, speaking to him, there was no level. In other words, do you want level with the pavement? Do you want to lift it up and go on 75 mil? So you keep it out of the water, or you want it below ground and constantly clean?
Sure, we want it slightly elevated, so the water.
Slightly elevated, as you indicated to the contractor.
Yeah.
Okay, and something else on the software on the Weybridge. Are we going down the path that Councillor Trenbath and myself requested, that we buy the software from the company that supplying the Weybridge? We're doing that. Thank you.
Well, I thought we resolved to do that in a previous resolution.
Yeah.
Anything else further on the waste report? If not, I'll put the recommendation on in favour. Yeah. Move to item 15, urgent business. There's no urgent business. Item 16, closed session confidential reports. General manager's opinion under section 10A2 of the Act that the business in 16.1 and 16.2 should be dealt with in the confidential section of this meeting and should be closed to the media and public in accordance with the Local Government Act 1993. Could I have someone to move us into confidential, please? Thank you, Councillor O'Connor. Seconder, Councillor Hayden. Thank you. All in favour? Thank you. Can we cease the recording, please? Could I have someone to move us back into open session of council? Thanks, Councillor Hayden. Seconder, please. Councillor Tucker. All in favour? Thank you. We can start the recording, please. Okay, thank you, members of the public. During the confidential section of the meeting, the following motions were passed. 16.1. Council supports the recommendation highlighted within the report, including an amount of 340,000 being supplied from the Land Bank to complete the 11-lot industrial subdivision in Hawkins Street and Mar Drive, Oberon. That was moved by Councillor MacArthur, seconded by Councillor O'Connor, and passed unanimously. 16.2.
No, it wasn't.
Oh, was it? Sorry. Was passed by all councillors other than Councillor Tucker. Thank you. 16.2, the land matter. Motion that was passed, moved by Councillor McCarthy, seconded by Councillor Tucker, was that council contact the owner of lot 90 DP 1238111 and offer a lease of the ground in accordance with the mayoral minute. That was passed unanimously. Thank you, councillors. Meeting closed at 10:08 p.m. And the next meeting of the council will be held on the 15th of April 2025 to commence at 5:30 p.m. in the Oberon Council Chambers, 137 Oberon Street, Oberon. Thank you everyone for your attendance, all councillors and members of the public online and who are present earlier this evening. Thank you.
Thanks, Mitch.